Just working on the TMC today. Working towards full auto. It's an old paintball trick that's been around for a while. But I'm doing it in little steps. I'm not sure with all this upgraded dry spring jazz that it's going to function in any sort of rhythmic cyclic action. It might just be like a bah! So in any case, what I've done, I've updated my shim spring. So I removed this spring here, which was from an M17 heat core. Pretty soft. So originally I had that installed here at the end of the dry spring. Instead, I've moved this M17 spring. I have lots of them, so I already have one installed here. I replaced the TMC trigger spring with the M17 spring. And I put the TMC spring into the dry spring because it is much stiffer. So we're going to load this guy back up and see what it does. Tough for you guys to tell, but that trigger is super light. And the shim is pretty much maximized. You can see right there at the end, like I can maybe pull it less than 1/8 of an inch. That means you're pretty much shimmed to the max. Let's see how the new shim in the dry spring does. Obviously, you guys, the trigger isn't gonna make any difference in velocity, so let's just get that over with. 12 gram Crossman. And I haven't shot burn kinetics in the TMC yet, so that's what we're going with. Factory barrel. .396. Oh, well, popping right back at me. 392. Went in my bathtub. Well, my dog's bathtub, that is. 36. 32. 378. I'm just gonna pop off this mag just to see. Previously with the setup I had, I was getting 18, 19 shots exactly on a 12 gram now. So there were 18 in here. Okay, so that was 19 shots because of the dry fire. So it's about the same with that shim. Don't really know if there was I saw any increase there because I wasn't shooting the 3.7 grams. Really need this on off, and this 90 gram, I'm pretty sure is almost empty. It's only showing 500 PSI. It is 15 degrees out in the garage, and this has been out here for weeks essentially, so. Oh, wired up. Not a fair fight though. Yeah, this CO2's dead. I'm not even gonna bother chronoing those. That's it. She done. There's a little juice in there, but you heard the marker sputter. That's it. It's over. For reals test this time. Best I had previously on this setup was 360 feet per second using a 12 gram CO2 and 3.7 gram riot balls. And that was shimmed with a M17 heat core spring. So this is the new shim that I stole from the trigger of the TMC. .360, number to beat. Factory barrel. Ew. Ew. Well, that's a very interesting development. Okay. The spring is harder. Well, now I'm gonna gosh darn have to put the M17 spring back in and see if that isn't actually giving me a little more juice. Strange, but I won't know unless I try. That was a TMC trigger return spring. That is the same M17 spring that I was using previously, and you can see what's happened. This was noticeably stiffer, but clearly of poorer quality because it compressed and stayed compressed, which explains the reduced velocity I just saw. So I was going to reinstall this M17 spring. Instead, I have these sear springs that I purchased for my M17 from AliExpress. And these are them here. And I tested it installed, and I am able to recock. So, in the essence of upgrades, that's what's going in. For reals this time. After that spring fiasco that I just showed, the shim spring, new shim spring installed that hopefully won't collapse on itself. 3.7 gram riot balls. Number to beat was 360. 12 gram Crossman. Oh. Not 658, 358, 356. So, didn't increase it at all, but it's back on par with where it was. A 4 FPS differential is nothing, especially with a 3.7 gram ball. It's probably less than a joule, so I call that back to where I was. Not an improvement, but there's still room there. I know there is. When that other spring comes, well, it's either going to work or it's not. And you know what else? That was 18 rounds exactly. Well, on the 19th shot, it sputtered, which is what it was doing when I was hitting 360 the first time. And with that buggered up spring in there, I was getting 20. So there is a method to the madness, guys. If you pay attention to the detail, sometimes you can catch things that, you know, when you're pushing for maximum power, if you're counting your shots, for instance, like I was doing, and you're getting 18 shots, we're just gonna use that number, 18 shots. And then all of a sudden I changed something. I put a different spring in here that I think is harder, but now I'm getting 20 shots. Well, in this particular firing system, if you're getting more shots, that means you're using less CO2. Well, it does apply to other markers. I shouldn't say this one in particular, but you can see what I'm getting at there. Your shots are going up. You're not using as much CO2, and more CO2 you use mostly equates to more power. Barrel length with CO2 plays a huge part as well. But you know, another thing I forgot to mention? Well, now that the power is back on par with what I was getting before, geez, the freaking test that I did just prior to this with the burner kinetics, well, you could probably throw those out the window. So I'll also have to retest those. Watch out for the next video, guys. I'm gonna try my only other TMC barrel, and that is a Lapco 10-inch that I have taped over the ports. It's a 684 bore somewhere. I'll take my word for it. It is 684. And we'll toss on a suppressor, mock suppressor. And I also have a hush shot that'll fit it. So we'll try some extensions on that barrel and see if we can squeeze a little more velocity from this guy.